All right, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am PJ. This is like take 8. Evelyn Vincent posted a video in the community section today by Canadian Prepper that dealt with, despite what it was titled, securing your retreat entrance. Yeah, there was a little bit more covered than that, but basically your retreat entrance, securing it. And I thought there were a lot of good points in that video, which is why I shared it also. And then it got me thinking. It brought a lot of things to mind about defending one's retreat. Your retreat being where you are located with your peeps and where you're going to try and make it when the world's going crazy, right? And so I thought to myself, you should do a series of videos on retreat defense. That's what I'm going to do. Please excuse the background noise. There's a fan on. I need it, lest I melt. I did a video, it's going to be a series of videos that I'm going to do. I can't cover it in one session. I can't cover it in 3 to 5, 15 to 20 minute videos, quite frankly, but I think I'll give you enough information that a lot of you can take the ball and run with it. Some of you know stuff about this. You'll be able to put things in the comment sections, and so we'll do that. I also know that most people, many people, like pretty pictures and display. This is what you need to defend your retreat, spick and span, because blah, blah, blah. And then you're also going to need one of these. I was originally going to do this with a whiteboard, but you can't camera it. Doesn't work that good. I know you like that. But the thing is, if I tell you to defend your retreat, you need a black Sharpie or a black dry erase marker. That's probably what works for me, but it may not work for you. So I'd rather give you concepts. Intelligent people like concepts. You can understand, grasp the concept, and then you can use it, apply it as it fits your situation. So it's not spoon feeding you. It's not satisfying like that. You're actually going to have to pay attention a little bit if you want to get something out of this, and you're going to have to take notes. So if you don't have a notebook and a pen, I suggest you go get one. Okay, I did a video some time ago, and I think I called it the 5 Ds of defense. Well, I've updated it. I'm going to update it right now, and we're going to call this video the 7 Ds of defense. And so these are concepts, things you want to apply when you're considering securing or, y'all forbid, defending your retreat from those who mean you ill. All right. The first thing to consider, and these are not in order of importance, but they're kind of in order of how you have to think about them. You'll see as we go along. The first one I want to talk about is depth. Depth. You have heard me say, do not defend your home from your mailbox. And why is that? Because you have no depth to speak of. The bullets that are coming at you while you're defending, assuming it's bullets, while you're defending everyone you care and love and everything you care about behind you, those bullets are going right there too. And so you have no depth. You don't want to defend from there. You want to defend from out here. That's why you need depth. But depth is a concept. You can have, well, we'll get into it. Just understand that the fight is not right here on one line. It's like that movie, TV show, series, Jericho. At one point, they're all at this bridge. It's like a big climactic scene, and the whole town is lined up on one end of the bridge behind some cars and stuff, and that's where they're making their final stand. That is a horrible way to conduct a defense, just on one place like that. That's terrible. And so for now, and you'll see as we go, understand that you want depth. It's not all at one point. The next D of the 7 is deter. You want to deter people from choosing you as a target. Deter is almost entirely, but not entirely, psychological. which is one of the things I really appreciated about the video that I posted earlier, was the psychology behind the thought process there. Let's face it, bad guys are basically going to have their choice of who to prey upon. You want them to pick somebody else other than you. And that's a decision on their part. And that decision is affected by many things, cost-benefit analysis being a big one. And so you want to deter them. You want to get inside their brain and you want to make them think the juice is not worth the squeeze, right? How do you deter them? A bunch of ways. You could deter them from coming into your sector of the county by removing a bridge. Am I telling you to go blow up bridges today in a world of law? I am not, because you will go to jail. Right? But something like that, then they can't even get there. So it's like they can't even get close to there. So it's like, let's go down here. It's easier. We'll prey on these people. It could be psychological. It could be the dead looter hanging from the tree in the middle of the road, from the branch that goes over the road with a sign, "This is what we do to looters." It could be, that's a psychological thing, right? It could be anything like that, but you want to deter them. When you are weak, appear strong, right? Make the people think, we don't want to mess with those people. How do you do that? You start doing that today. You start getting everybody in your AO to know who you are. The way we phrase it is, we can be your best friend or your worst enemy. We don't tell people that, but we definitely put off that vibe. It's like, yeah, they're all right, but you don't want to mess with them. And that's true. I mean, we're not lying. That's true. We can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And so that's deterrence. Just make people think there's other fruit that's easier to pick than this retreat over here. So that's the number one, deter. Now, depth applies to everything I'm going to talk about. How do you deter in depth? The word can be out in the county that retreater group, that crew that's up there on, Old Pine Mountain, don't go down there, man. They'll eat you. That's out there, all the way up to signage that you have on your gate, or on the road going to your place or whatever. Depth. It's not just all one thing. It's also multiple means of getting this done, right? So we have the psychological deterrence of rumors that we start. We have the deterrence of physically creating some barriers kind of thing, which also applies into other things, but many things have depth in your deterrence. The next thing that you want to consider is detect. When somebody's coming to your AO, you want to know they're coming before they get there. You don't want to know that 4 pickup trucks of guys intent on, raping your dog and killing your women and taking all your food. You don't want to know they're here when they're at your gate or in your driveway or in your backyard, right? You want to know before that. And so the concept of detection implies doing that early enough for you to take action, right? Having somebody kick your door in when you're sleeping just on the other side of that door and they come bursting into your room, that doesn't matter that I detected that they were kicking my door in. And then they're on you. You didn't have enough time, right? So you need to have enough time in your detection to do what you're going to do. Again, detection is depth. You could have something like your defensive source net, the people who like you out, miles from where you are, who let you know, like we do, hey, there's some weirdo going around the diners in the morning and asking about y'all. What'd you tell him? Nothing. Thank you. What'd he look like? What's his license plate? Da-da-da-da-da. And, that's early detection, right? It could also be driveway alarms, whatever. Use your imagination, but you want to know they're coming before they get there. Which gets into, man, this can go deep. I'm not going to go there. There's many ways they can come, though, right? You need to be able to detect them no matter which way they're coming. All right, so then the next D is deny. You want to deny them access to you, right? If they can't get to you, they can't hurt you, kind of thing. That's not exactly true, but generally it is. And so how do you do that? Make it very difficult for them to get to where you are. If we want to start at the house and work our way out, which I'll probably do a video on that, harden your house, right? And then beyond that, harden your yard. Beyond that, harden your gate or your gates into your place. Beyond that, block some roads. Beyond that, set up a community choke point where the community takes turns manning this, checkpoint, choke point to keep people who don't belong back in the community there. Badoom, just keep pushing it out. That's the depth thing. All the way out, all the way maybe convince the town that sits astride the Mavser Avenue of approach, y'all probably don't want to let strangers be coming in your town. Well, if you can get them to stop this SF way of thinking, if I can get that town to not let strangers get through that town, well, they're certainly not getting to me outside of that town, kind of thing, right? And so you want to deny them access, and that's mostly physical things you're going to do. It could be obstacles. It could be, although any obstacle created by man can be overcome by man for the most part. But think about that as a concept. You want to deny them entry. So you've done everything you could to deter them. You've done everything you can to detect them. You've done everything you can to, and you have done so. You've detected them. You denied them for a little while, but they're still coming. Now what you want to do is delay and disrupt them. Let's keep it simple. A car of 4 or 5 bad guys pulls up in front of your house. They all bail out of the car, and they've already got kind of a loose plan. Zeke and Clem run around to the back, and the other 3 Bubbas run up to the front, and they kick your doors at the same time, front and back. Boom. That's what they do. They've done it before. They've been very successful at it. They come in, speed, shock, and surprise. They overwhelm the occupants of the dwelling. They do what they're going to do, and they're out, right? Okay, well, you didn't detect them. You certainly didn't deter them, because here they are. You didn't deny them entry. How are you going to delay them? How good are your doors? How easy is it to kick your door? Have you taken steps, and there are many, to super reinforce your doors? Because they're going to try the doors first. Yes, they could cut a hole with a saw in your roof and rappel down like ninjas, but they're not gonna, right? What do you have as in the way of thorny bushes or fences or anything like that to your backyard so they can't immediately run to the backyard, that kind of thing? You're delaying them and you're disrupting them. If the guys in the front kick the door, but the back guys haven't even gotten over the fence yet, you have disrupted their plan, right? And so there's all kinds of things like that you can do. It's like we say, it's all good for your plans, but don't forget the enemy has a vote and the enemy has a plan. And you have to think like the threat that you're facing. And you have to try and imagine how they're going to try and do what they want to do. And then you have to disrupt that. And what does that do? It slows them down. It frustrates them. It makes their plan not work in synchronization, like they want it to. And it gives you more time to deal with them, right? Whether that's fight, flee, or freeze. I don't recommend freezing. All right. So you've done all that. The next thing that you're going to do, you've delayed them, you've disrupted them, but they still coming. You're going to have to defend. It's put up or shut up time. You're going to have to defend, unless you're running away. You're going to have to defend your place. And again, all of this happens in depth. You disrupt them in depth. If you made them have to talk their way through a checkpoint a half a mile from your house, that delayed them. If you had lights come on in the neighborhood when they were coming down your street, that starts working on deterrence, but it's also delaying them because they're thinking, oh, are we being seen? What do we want to do? Maybe have a quick meeting. Do we still want to do this thing? And so you're delaying them. You're disrupting their plan of doing it in the darkness. But hey, at some point, you're going to have to defend. And again, you don't defend from your mailbox. You don't defend from a single point, which doesn't mean you're not prepared to defend from a single point, but hopefully depth, the first thing we're talking about, You have many positions from which to defend from. Do you remember that movie, The Patriot? He was attacking, but he was still using depth, and he was using these kinds of concepts. And it could have been defending, it doesn't matter. But you remember he'd shoot from one tree and then run to another tree and shoot from another tree? And then his boys shoot over here and then he goes here. That's depth, right? They didn't know where to face him. And so when you defend, you're fighting. Bottom line, you're fighting. There are many concepts. I'll probably go over them. There's like basically 7 concepts for actually defending. And maybe I'll make that a different video on the way you want to do it. But the bottom line is it's time to fight with whatever you can muster, which whatever you've prepared and have planned for and rehearsed and practiced, because you're only going to be as good as your training and experience at this point. And if all you've done is watch PJ videos and a couple gun shooting videos or sword fighting videos or whatever, you're not going to do real well in the defense. And again, quantity has a quality all its own. Having people is helpful, right, when it comes to defense. And then the final D, which really you're only really going to be able to use, not in peacetime, not even against home invaders, really, only in extreme circumstances, is defeat. You're not just going to defend your place, you're going to defeat the enemy so that he cannot do this again. There was just a guy in Oklahoma City or Tulsa, maybe Tulsa, that somebody like tried to carjack him or something. Give me your car. And a struggle ensued for the gun. The good guy ended up with the gun, and the good guy is now in jail awaiting trial for like first-degree manslaughter. Why? Because he decided to defeat the threat as the threat who lost the gun was running away. Can't do that. Not in peacetime. It's not your job, man. But if this is without rule of law and someone has attacked you and taken casualties, you don't want them limping away so they can lick their wounds, fester their anger, and come back with a better plan, right? You want to defeat them. And there are ways to do that that are beyond the scope of this video. But it requires depth, right? You're not going to get in a foot race and chase them down and shoot your bow at them, right? But those are the 7 Ds. Those are the concepts for defending your tree. If you follow those concepts, if you figure out ways they apply, it will help you. And so again, it's depth, deter, detect, deny, delay, and disrupt. That's technically 8. Defend and defeat. All right, we're going to get into more details and take this on slightly different tangents. And we will get to some practical spoon-feeding things you can do. But I mean, come on. Do you need me to spoon-feed you how to detect people? Maybe a little. And so we'll do that in other videos. All right, I appreciate y'all. I'll see you out there.